Welcome back to Fire and Smoke, Blight and Bloom. We are Phillip,
Abby,
Blake, Ethan,
Eric,
also known as Dungeon Master.
Odessa Vandover,
Randolph Higdon, Scratch.
Sleeves.
Last episode, the Furries made their way back to Slate Cut after finalizing their plan. They got to Odessa's house, found the bullets and a note from the moles, that the moles had gone to the store to try to get supplies and that they had important information to give the Furries. After going to the store, Odessa and Higgs had a conversation with Dory Fletcher, who let them know a little bit of helpful information before Odessa and Higgs searched the store and found 2 of the 3 moles, Horns and Pete. They were stuck in an open jar of pickled eggs. They had a conversation with the moles, who let them know while they were waiting at Odessa's house last night, a cloaked figure entered, seemingly scraping up a bit of Higgs's dry blood from the puddle on the floor where he had laid dead, leaving, muttering under her breath, according to Horns, "Hope that's enough." You went from the company store to see about stealing Reverend Fernrow's car and following Chops to his house to explore it. Getting there, you saw the car parked outside the outdoor chapel, and Higgs noticed that Reverend Fernrow was in fact J.O.V. Clayton.
I've got nothing.
Oh, I completely missed that.
It's okay. They decided the course of action was still to steal the car, so at least if they had to peel out, Jove, Reverend Fernrow, couldn't follow. An unfortunate stealth roll meant that Odessa was spotted as they tried to sneak to the car. Higgs getting in, finding a key in the glove box, and getting ready to turn to Odessa and tell her to wave to the others that it was time to go. The others, standing off on the tree line, Scratch and Sleeves, saw Jove walking up, but for fear of calling out and bringing attention to themselves from Reverend Fernrow, Jove, and all of the miners, were frozen in place, stuck, as he walked to the car, standing, looking at you, Higgs, saying, "Higgs, what the hell?" That's where we are now. You see Jove, his small circular glasses resting low on his nose, his gray combed over hair. He's a tall, lanky man. He's towering isn't the right word because he's not physically imposing. He's quite lanky and, not frail, but just long arms, long legs. But he is standing tall over you, curled up on the floor of the car, key in hand, Odessa just outside the open driver's side door.
Such a funny
And he
image.
said, "Higgs, what the hell?"
I could say the same to you, Jove.
Jove takes note of Odessa, and he says, "Hold on. There's lots to discuss, and I figured we'd do it somewhere more private.
Well, where do you want to meet us?
If you had come back to town, I have a lot to explain. I think after you hear me out, Higgs, you might want to be a part of this, so I'd like to keep up appearances and not do this right here, right now. If you had come back to town at any point and talked to me, I was going to offer to take you and now the others. I don't mind if they join. I don't know why you like them. I don't know what they've done to you. I don't know what you've talked about. Beats the hell out of me. Doesn't really matter. If they want in, they can talk to. I was going to invite you somewhere else to a house I have out here to talk." You see, he's keeping a low voice, so everybody in the chapel can't hear him. Odessa, if you're slightly peeking your head over, or Scratch and Sleeves as you're slightly peeking around the bin to see, everybody in the chapel is watching Reverend Fernrow talk to somebody hidden. Basically, he told the procession, "Excuse me, I think I see somebody trying to steal my car. I need to go see about this," and walked off. But everybody's kind of murmuring in the crowd watching this. People are straining their necks. You see Ned and Eli talking to each other in a whisper.
Maybe I would have believed that before you tried to have me killed and then had us followed by those dangerous bobcats that, by the way, tried to kill us.
Now, I have thoroughly reprimanded Chops for that. I told him not to kill you. Fucking idiot. His sister is going to stay dead for a while before I think about bringing her back. She can see the consequences of her actions, and he can feel them too. Higgs, there's a lot going on. You weren't gonna stay dead. It wasn't part of the... Higgs, right now, I've been interrupted in my sermon. It's at a point where I think you following me back would bring too much suspicion. I'd like to talk about this, but I'd like to return and finish Sunday service.
Can we hear him?
You guys are hearing this hushed conversation for sure. And Odessa, he's not been addressing you. He's mostly looking at Higgs, his counterpart in all this. It's quite rude that he's... Like, you get that he knows Higgs, but he's also, like, hardly glancing at you.
I'm gonna look at the other two, like, try and gauge what they want to do.
Chops looks at you with a blank stare on her face. You're seeing confusion, and she's already fully on your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she still feels hurt about the comments about leaving her dead.
Hmm.
Sleeves is gonna comfort her with a nice hug.
You comfort her. Joves looks at you, Higgs, and he says, might be a little bit suspicious if you came and joined. What do you say? You stay here. I know it'll be uncomfortable, but stay here out of sight. I'll wrap up quickly. I'll come get in the car. We can drive to wherever your friends are, and we can go have a conversation in private.
Guess I don't see anything wrong with that, right?
It would be reasonable, but it would be so much fun to nab him. Right? Right? What actually happens if we grab him? What bad stuff happens?
Well, right now, people panic. People might have guns.
If we have the Reverend, they can't shoot at us.
We're not going to kidnap him.
All right, just playing devil's advocate. Just saying the option exists.
I suppose that's the sane thing to do then.
Exactly. This is why I like you. So level-headed. Reasonable. You don't panic. And you see he looks off a little bit when he says the word panic. Higgs, I missed you a good deal. And he looks at you and he says, are you agreeable to that, Miss Vandiver?
To the plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know it'll be a little bit uncomfortable, but I guess you'll have some time here. I'll try to wrap things up rather quickly. We haven't been going long, but I'll say something along the lines of, it was a misunderstanding and they ran off or who knows what. I think people will basically, I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to have you close the car door in a slam, and then I'll turn around and walk back, and then I'll be back later and we can get out of here quickly.
All right.
Odessa, he motions for you and you close the car door, shaking the car a bit. He waits for a moment, kind of like looking up towards the woods as if following somebody, feigning to follow somebody. And then he walks back to the Sunday service. While you guys wait, you're perfectly able to talk, and people waiting off on the side are able to talk. But I'll say in between whatever conversation might happen, you're also hearing something as it goes on. So that can be known, so you might want to talk about it more. Basically, Reverend Fernrow was in the middle of and then continues talking about how he's got exciting but sad news. He goes on to describe how he and the Angels will be making short trips to help other mountain towns, as this community has been helped so much by their presence. People are murmuring and a little nervous at first, but he goes on to say that this isn't goodbye, it's merely a new thing they're trying. They've seen how much good can be done here and they want to help spread that, and that should be a thing that people are excited about. And in fact, some people who hear the calling most in their heart may be able to join them on these short exploratory missions out to see how they go. People who can join the flock, so to speak, even if he doesn't say that outright. Now, while all that's going on, there's a few minutes if any of you would like to talk.
While I'm hearing him say all of this, can I make some sort of like insight check just to see, like, does he have some, like, I don't know, something more sinister in mind? I don't know.
Yeah, do an insight check. You can do it with advantage. You know Jove quite well.
New name dropped, Jerove.
Jerove Way.
15.
You can tell the way he's using certain words, highlighting certain words. He's trying to elicit especially exact emotions out of people and trying to get them to understand. And you can tell that this must fit into a larger plan. Jove is the leader of this small secretive group. They've got something going on with Sam Dodgers, one of the angels, 2 random people in town who have been folded into this at some point. And now he's announcing, we're going to be going off and helping people. The angels are going to help people like they've helped you. And that's a good thing. And in fact, if some of you blessed people feel so called, you could even join us.
I guess I don't know where we're gonna meet everyone. He said we can go meet our friends, but they're just over there. He didn't know that.
When the car peels out, you'll probably say right there behind the bushes.
Okay, that's fine then. That's fine.
Yeah.
Chops, whenever we, I guess, go with the Reverend, you should probably stay hidden and just kind of follow from a distance so he doesn't know that you're working with us, because he seems to think you're dead.
Yeah.
You see Chops still a little sad and maybe even a little angry as her eyes dart back and forth as she's looking at the ground listening to you. And she says, if you think that would be best, Team Furry all the way, I'll follow your lead. If you want to, I can stay back. I was kind of excited to go in the car, but I can run behind. I'm used to it.
I'm sorry about that. I'm also excited to go in the car, but this way we'll have the element of surprise because he won't know you're there.
Okay, we'll do.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is there a trunk of the car? I guess that'd be too obvious. You would see someone
Get out and get in the trunk.
Never mind. we could put Chops in the trunk.
Maybe with a spectacular distraction right as Reverend gets into the car, we'll be like, oh no, and then
Just talk really loudly.
Why did the trunk just fly open?
that's crazy. Oh, it's closed? All good.
I have something that I want to say. He seemed like he really wanted you to join in with his plan. How does that make you feel?
I wouldn't put it past him. That's kind of what I've been my whole life to him, I guess, since I knew him. I don't know how much he's ever really cared about me, I guess. If all these other people seem to just be being manipulated somehow into working with him, then I wouldn't put anything past him at this point.
I just really want your assurance that you won't try and join him. You won't be sweet-talked by him into whatever he's doing. We know he's not a good guy.
I think if their plan hadn't gone off without a hitch and they brought me back to life and they talked to me right after and whatever, then I would say I probably would have started working with him then, but after all I've seen, absolutely not.
Okay. It's good to hear.
You two share this very touching moment together. I would say minutes later, as this conversation has been happening, everything that I said before was happening at the same time. You're hearing and you're talking about it. The service starts to wrap up and people start to stand to move towards the angels, as usually happens, as what you've seen before Odessa, people going to have minor injuries healed or have, their worries talked about, or people who just spiritually want to connect with these people they believe to be truly blessed. Jove starts quickly walking away, maybe saying he has, something he needs to go do, and sorry he has to rush out this Sunday. But he goes to the car. He shoos Higgs as he opens the driver's side door to go to the passenger side and motions for you, Odessa, to climb into the back while people aren't looking. You get in, and do you point out the people just on the side of the road?
Yeah.
Okay. Before this happened, Chops ran off into the woods to not be seen so she could follow fully in stealth. Just as he pulls around the bend, he stops the car so the foxes can run and get in the car, and he begins to drive away. Chops follows far behind.
Slaze is standing with his front paws on the side of the car and just looking forward.
After you guys get out of town, you pop up and put your head over the side of the car, letting the wind blow through your hair. Is anybody attempting to start conversation in this car ride? That'll be about half an hour, because he will let the car ride be quiet if nobody is starting a conversation.
Can we play I Spy?
Can I first just do a quick perception check on him to see if there's anything like on his clothes or his person or the way he is?
Sure. You're kind of on the passenger side, but in the back seat, looking at him. There's wind going through his short, combed over hair. Again, this car doesn't have a top. It's a sporting car. It's meant to be a car that a rich person buys to drive around as a pastime. He adjusts his small glasses. He has his hands on the wheels, driving along the dirt road, kind of bumping. You can make a perception check to see if he's got anything of note on him that you should be worried about. And anybody else could, if they wanted to. This was Scratch just brought it up.
I'll stare at him intently.
Okay. I can say you're probably also keeping your jacket, your trench coat closed with the moles on the inside.
I forgot about the moles.
How could you forget?
They're aware enough to know to stay quiet.
God.
They've sensed that this guy is maybe important.
Okay.
They're not messing up this moment. They're
Okay.
staying quiet.
When we get to the house, you can like let them out and like just tell them to like look around for any like juicy information.
Yes.
And then as we leave, you can like collect them back in the trench coat.
11.
Anybody else making perception?
I have a 20.
It's a 19.
With a 20 and a 19, I think you both are relieved to see he doesn't seem to have any weapons on him. There's nothing hiding under his shirt. His boots are tall and laced up all the way up the calf, but it doesn't look like there's a knife hiding in there. He doesn't have anything on his hip. You didn't see anything in the glove box. He did put on his driving gloves, and he's driving now. Nothing to worry about, but he looks ahead sternly at the road. Again, if nobody's going to start a conversation, he will let this drive pass in silence.
Anyone want to play I Spy again? Here, I'll go first. I spy with my little eye a big old liar. Any guesses? Scratch?
You see, it's so strange because you have a very contentious moment here, but like he said, I've missed you when he was talking to you. And when you say that, this pointed observation, you see his mouth just curls up in like a wry smile, but he doesn't say anything.
This guy sucks.
Can I be on Ox? And Sleaze pulls out an iPod Touch from his pocket.
From his pocket that he has. He pulls out an iPod Touch. You get on Aux, what are you blasting on the car ride?
We're blasting Country Roads.
Oh, very fitting. That's on my
Nice.
Fire and Smoke Appalachia playlist that I listened to get in the mood when I was world building.
See, I was thinking more California girls.
I was going to say Party in the USA,
Girls.
so that's a good one too.
You turn on Party in the USA on the aux cord from your iPod Touch, and you see Jove reaches out and turns up the volume. Eventually, Jove makes a turn about halfway into this half-hour drive down a little side road. You guys, have long exited Slate Cut. You're driving through trees, driving past some sections that are cleared, and in a heavily wooded area, he takes a little turn into a valley between two mountain ridges, and 15 minutes later, you're pulling up to a large house. It's like a mansion relative to other homes in the valley, and must have belonged to some rich mill owner or entrepreneur, because it's not new. This wasn't built by Jove. It looks weathered and old. It's been here more than a few years, but the house sits alone in this stretch of valley, a few hundred feet away from a creek in one direction, and a few hundred feet away from the woods farther up the ridge in the other. It's 2 stories and very wide. It has dark wooden paneling decorating the roof and the window frames, and a stone facade made from local rock. You see behind it, a covered walkway leads to what must be a small guest house or an additional space to entertain visitors. It looks like somebody built this house to host people. You don't know how Jove came about it, but that's where you end up pulling up as the car slows and stops in front of the house. And Jove says, "All right, this is it. I'm glad you were all kind enough to join me here. Ms. Vandiver, I know. Foxes, do you have names?"
You can call me Brother Fox.
Brother Fox? Okay.
Scratch.
Scratch.
And this is Sleeves.
No.
And Sleeves. Okay. Nice to meet you, Scratch and Sleeves. I'm J.O.V. Clayton. Call me Jove. Ms. Vandiver, we've never really talked. And you can see he's starting to get up out of the car and begins trying to lead the group to walk and talk as he walks into the house.
What does he do with the keys?
He places them in the glove box.
We can strand him in the mountains.
I've never had a reason to talk to you until now.
Likewise. Are you all following him into the house?
Driving in the car.
This is a good opportunity to talk
We
to him.
may-
Basically, he's not like walking away from you. He's starting the process of walking and talking. If you guys don't follow, he'll probably turn around. I'm just, making sure
Yeah.
nobody's...
We may as well go with him now and talk to him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, why did we come with him if we were just gonna not
That's
talk
true.
to him anyway?
Well, yeah.
He leads you as he says, likewise. You see the house is dark right now. As he enters, he begins to move around and turn on oil lamps, illuminating the rooms. You see there's a large, well-decorated living room with comfortable-looking couches. There's a dining room. There's stairs up. You see some doors off to the sides that might lead to pantry or basement or closets or what have you. There must be a kitchen somewhere in the back. But you guys are just moving loosely around the house as he talks. And he says, don't know where Chops is. He should be around here somewhere, but he was sulking when I left. When he returned late last night, exhausted, half dead, he told me about everything that happened with the four of you. And as I told your friend, and he's addressing the Foxes and Odessa, he was thoroughly reprimanded for attacking you. I won't be bringing his sister back anytime soon. I've told Sham to hold off on that. Sorry he did that to you. I just wanted him to follow you because I had some suspicions about you. And he turns towards Sleeves. Sham told me that you're the one that brought Higgs here back to life the night he got here. Is that right?
That may or may not be true.
He probably notices immediately that my body language gets a lot more hostile when he starts directly addressing Sleeves.
You see, he probably does take note of it as he's glancing between the three of you, but you don't see a waver of his demeanor or a crack in his conviction as he talks. He just takes note of it. And he says, right, well, I was quite interested in an animal that had the same powers as the angels. I'd not met one like that before. In fact, I see you and your brother seem to be a lot more of mind than Chops is. I kind of assumed that any mutated animals would be as dumb as them. Maybe brain capacity isn't big enough, I don't know. But you two seem rather reasonable, and I was quite interested, so I told Chops to follow you in case you knew something that we didn't. He told me already about the location you led them to. That's known. It's not important at the moment. Heard about the forest? Confirms my suspicions. Being that close to whatever those roots must lead to, I bet the density of the roots under the ground there are much higher, and that's why that area of woods is so strange, as Chops described it, alive. What do you know, Higgs? And he turns back to you, Higgs.
What do I know?
Yes. You see, this whole time he hasn't even been feigning to not know what you know he would know. It seems like he's past that, and he's trying to have a direct conversation.
Well, what do I know about your conspiracy thing, or what do I know about what's going on in the forest?
We
or
can
what do I
get
know about
into
what's
the
going on
plan
with
later,
healers?
Higgs. What do you know about the roots? That's how you got connected to the power, isn't it?
And how do you know that?
We have been doing some research here. I'm not going to get into it right now. Basically, I had Sally go get some of your blood to see if it had any spores in it from the fungus. We've come to understand that it's spread through physical contact at the moment. Your blood does have those spores in it. You came into contact with the roots, the fungus, at some point or another, so I want to know how much you know about it. Likewise with you, Foxes. You have any fun stories about that?
This seems like something you could get from Chops.
Chops is a little hard to get salient information out of. I've long questioned what happened to them, and they say, we don't know. We just woke up one day like this. What the hell am I supposed to do with that?
I don't think we want to give him a lot of information right now.
I really don't. Yeah. At some point, you got to release the moles.
It's true. I gotta go tinkle at some point, and then I can release them.
Ah, classic.
That's it.
Unless he's been warned about that one about bum chops. Where is he taking us in the house? Are we just like in a study or a sitting room or something?
You guys have been just walking as he's turning on lights this whole time, turning on oil lamps to brighten the house as you're seeing its grandeur, its magnificence, worlds apart from how you live, Odessa, how people in the company town live, even from how you live, Higgs, in your small apartment in Chicago with the salary that you get. As you guys are talking, and as he said this last point about what you all know, he begins to lead you out towards the back door. And he says, this is a long conversation. Would you all like to do it over a meal? We can sit down in the guest area and talk a little bit.
I guess we could eat. Wouldn't hurt.
Great. You're walking right now through the living room on the way to the back door as you say this. Everybody can make a perception check as you're obviously all examining your house. It's not like you're not looking around. Ethan, I see you looking at me. You do make it with advantage, a perception check.
The 21.
22.
16.
It's an 8.
Everybody but Sleeves, who is more just, it's very cool to be in this, like, easily to you, mansion. It's not that it's not grand. It's not like an extravagant mansion of today, but by mountain standards, this is a rich snob's house, right? All three of you, as you're passing through this living room, glancing around as you talk, he's not paying you mind as you, he's not trying to stop you from looking at things. He's just walking ahead, kind of expressionless, emotionless. His voice is staying very low. His timbre is quite consistent. You notice there's a large shelf. It has stacks of books. It has pictures, maybe other things. There's also 4 metal wire stands. One of those stands is empty. The one opposite of it, on the other side of the middle 2, holds a handgun that is identical to the one that Odessa has with her right now, tucked into her overalls. The 2 middle stands hold what Odessa and Higgs you would know to be a rather new invention or refinement of an invention that was used in the Great War. They are 2 hand grenades, all displayed prominently on the shelf. What you also notice is that off in the corner, in the other direction of the room, is a door. It's not a room you've been in and Jove has turned a light on, but you notice that under the door seam, there's light coming from it. So there was light already on there before you got here. It looks like it's a door that backs up to a section of the house that is not accessible. Like it might be a closet or a bathroom or a passage to somewhere else. Those are the things you notice as you pass through this room on your way to the back door, following him still.
Scratch kind of nudges Higgs and he's like, go on, ask about it. Like,
I guess, man. So Jove, nice weapons you got there.
You see Jove stops before you guys exit this living room area, and he says, yes, personal belongings. I moved them out here when I got this place. Sorry, as you see, that's a gun that I gave to Sham that he lost, and I'm told one of you has, but it's not that big of a deal right now. It's not what is important. Those things are very interesting. They are symbols to me of my relationship to you and your people, Odessa, workers, how to quell the unrest. The grenades are the same kind that were dropped by the federal government from biplanes on the last uprising of miners not all too far away from here when they were on strike. The guns were used in another labor dispute to kill one of the leading organizers.
We gotta kill this guy.
Are you proud to display things that hurt people just for standing up for themselves?
Standing up to me? They're not standing up to nobody.
They're standing for themselves.
And I stand for myself.
But they depend on you.
That's true. And why should they bite the hand that feeds them without consequence?
Is that how you
If you don't reprimand somebody for insubordination, you get a situation where Chops follows their own ideas instead of what they're told to do, and something out of plan happens that wasn't supposed to happen.
Would you feel the same way to your kids?
I don't have kids, Miss Vandiver.
I don't either, but I still feel for these people.
Well, I'd argue the point more, but that's not even really what's all too important to me at this point. What do you know about... I asked this earlier and we didn't really get into it. What do you all know about what's happening with the Roots? Because that's far more important than this silly coal company.
Why do you want to know?
Because I am finding out information about them to my own benefit and to the benefit of many others.
Why?
Why do I do things to my benefit?
You weirdo.
How does it benefit you?
Back when I came here, well, Higgs, I'm sorry I've been gone for a couple of years. I have missed you, but I needed to make sure what I saw here as a possibility could come to pass before I got you involved. I wouldn't want you to have worried or been put in danger if things weren't as I thought they were. I bought the Dodge Coal Company for nothing. When the coal industry collapsed a couple decades ago, I've had it for a long time. Everyone had cold feet, what with the death of the Western Railroad network. But I saw, well, those morons don't or didn't at the time. The United States would not accept defeat, at least not for long. Feds had their hands in a bind with not being able to penetrate past the Mississippi. But I'm told by my friends on the inside that they have suspicions about the nature of their failures. They're putting money into finding means to survey the land and come up with a winning plan to take it back, and then to wage a proper war against the cows. They're betting on new planes, warplanes, based on their experience with dropping bombs on the miners, as well as war machines that can move over land with men in them completely enclosed by metal and safe from people outside. They're going to start making these things real soon. When the engines of industry, I thought, are eventually lit to build things that will take back the West, those engines, those things will burn coal. That's why I bought this place. That's why I came here, Higgs. That's why I first came out here 2 years ago after owning it for quite a while to see how I could squeeze more out of this place, how I could make more money and deal with pesky problems like unions. By chance, I found out that's not what's important anymore. Hasn't been important to me for a couple years since the day I came out here, because I happened to meet a woman, by luck of the draw, who was blessed with divine powers, or so she said.
But how did you find Sam and Lucille? Were those luck of the draw too?
No, that was intentional. I left Beatrice's place confident that it was not divine blessing. I'd never seen such, and she seemed to be too dense to understand that one singular event happened out of the ordinary right before she got her powers. She misinterpreted it to the death of her friend. I decided to investigate a little bit. I went out by that grave and I dug in the woods, and I began to see something peculiar. Something she must have cut through. Red fungus, like a parasite wrapping around the roots. I had never seen that before, and I knew that it physically changed Beatrice. It seemed to have changed her for the good, but I decided not to get my horses ahead of the buggy and decided not to touch it myself. Lots of investigation came afterwards. Lots of searching. Lots of planning. I scoured the lands looking for other people who might be blessed to confirm that this was a physical reaction and not a divine blessing. It took a lot of trial and error, months of going through different towns, feigning injuries to find kind souls like her who might be willing to heal me. And I came across two, a Lucille Sorsby and a Sham Doddridge. That's how I found them, not by chance, by choice, by intention, by action.
So it sounds like you know exactly how to get these powers. What else would you need to know?
I wanted to know where they came from. These roots were everywhere throughout the mountains, except when they stopped being everywhere. I would dig in sections in this section and find in some places there were roots, in some places there weren't, in some places there was this fungus, in some places there wasn't. In some places it was denser. I began to map it out and try to see if it was pointing anywhere. I wanted to know that this wasn't a divine blessing. What was it? What on the green earth could have caused this red fungus to grant people magic powers? All three of these people interpreted as some kind of divine blessing. You are interesting because I didn't know animals would react the same way. As you can see, the angels, they don't have mutations like Chops did. I met Chops later, by the way. That's a whole different story. We found it affects animals differently. I didn't know animals could be healers, but I did know they mutated. They gained intelligence. Chops was the only one who I had met, but they assured me they knew of other talking animals that were not willing to talk to people. I want to know why this thing operates the way it does and where it comes from. That's what I want to know. And I was on the right track, so it appears. Chops told me the location where that living forest is. That's about the direction that our searches were going in. Hell, a couple more weeks and we probably would have found it ourselves. But knowing a little bit early doesn't hurt. So I thank you for leading us there.
So you called it a fungus with spores.
Fungus is the closest approximation to what the red substance is. We've done some rudimentary tests. I'm not a scientist. But we carefully took samples over the months. Wearing gloves, being careful, seeing how things react with different liquids. Your dried blood reacted in a way that told me you had spores in it.
And as far as you know, everyone that comes into contact with this stuff gets, like, powers?
Many people, many animals seem unaware. I've met less people than Chops has told me there are animals that have come in contact with this fungus. It's harder to tell the people because they, as I said, don't seem to have visible mutations.
So you don't know why some people are getting these powers and others seem unaffected?
No, I do not. That is something I would well like to know, especially before I ever consider touching the damn stuff myself.
Could we try to compile what we know that he doesn't?
Well, he doesn't know that I'm getting dreams or being communicated to by some weird being.
It's pretty important.
He doesn't know I have 2 pieces of the red substance in my pocket in my trench coat. He doesn't know that if you go to the source, you can see through the eyes of people.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Doesn't know anything about a meteor.
Doesn't know anything about the meteor.
The mushroom.
Probably because this has...
He thinks it's a fungus.
He
Yeah,
thinks it's a
it's like
fungus.
a normal fungus. He thinks it's from Earth.
In my dream, out of character, you guys don't know this yet, but in my dream, there are a bunch of red mushrooms. Right?
I bet he would hate it if any of us were to like scratch or bite him. Even you guys, since he would get infected with it.
I don't know if it works one way or both ways.
All you have to do is like touch the stuff
I guess
to get
that's
infected
true.
with it, right?
It might have to be like blood contact if it's not touching the spores.
It wasn't for Odessa.
Well, but she touched the roots.
I guess that's true. And you have roots with you. But I also don't want to make him a magic user. So also, it's probably for the best he doesn't touch it ever.
Who gets to be magic users?
We don't know yet. It does seem sentient. So it gets to decide. Which is why he probably also wants to go the cult angle of like, oh, even if I don't have powers, everyone with the powers works for me. They do what I tell them to do. You have to come to me if you want my help, like that kind of vibe.
I guess.
Well then, A, Why didn't it like me? That's weird, right? Why didn't it like you?
It's not weird.
Why didn't it like Higs or Odessa? Why did it like Sleeves?
I think it really likes me.
Yeah, but it did make
Healing
you a healer.
powers.
Not yet.
Maybe it's like for the powerless. Like she had just lost someone and she was going to be alone, you know?
Yeah.
Also, presumably from the conversation, Sam can revive Chops if she was dead for a while.
So it's not clear how the rules work,
Or they also don't
or
understand.
they don't know. Yeah, they might not know, especially if they've only done it like a lab setting, like scientifically. They might not know what the edge cases are yet.
What information can we even give him besides the meteor
I don't
and
wanna
my
give-
dreams? But I think that's
Definitely don't
absolutely
give him
off the
dreams.
table.
We could tell him it's a meteor from space. That doesn't seem like too big of a deal if he knows that.
It's kind of a random.
Could also just say, yeah, it is a big mushroom.
Just lie.
Yeah.
We were there. It was the biggest mushroom you ever saw.
Let's ask what's inside that room.
We can. That's honestly not
Can
a
we
bad
let
question.
them? Can we? He's
No,
gonna
no,
try to
let him
sit us
cook.
down for dinner. He said, right?
Let him cook.
What's in that room over there?
You see he looks over and notices the light coming out of the end of the door. He says, "That is where we conduct our research."
Do we want to go down there?
We do want to go down there, but I want to release the moles at some point. I feel like if we can sit them down at that meal.
Higgs, you hear very faintly, just you can hear sounds of chewing, munching, like they might still have some egg left,
Still got some left.
Just a little.
just a little bit.
Your trench coat must stink.
Like awfully.
If pickled eggs have been sitting in it all day.
Bad.
Or at least for like an hour or so.
Where's the bathroom?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I've had to tinkle for a while.
He looks around at all of you. You need to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want information, you can ask me about it. I'm being very forthcoming with all of you, and I would appreciate some reciprocation of that.
I mean, to be honest, we don't know that much. I don't know how much you think we know. All we did, we saw the mushroom that you're talking about. And I mean, that's about it.
You saw the mushroom?
Well, yeah, past like the forest dudes.
So it's above ground.
Yes.
Oh, you don't say it like that.
Didn't say that weird. Yes.
That makes it easier.
Makes what easier?
Ms. Vandiver, Higgs, Foxes, I want to offer you something. I was just going to offer this to Higgs after he saw the light, so to speak. I'm sorry the plan went a little bit on the haywire, what with Sam panicking and running and leading on a goose chase and you being off with these new friends of yours, Higgs. But that it was really just, I would thought it'd be better if you saw firsthand what this could do to people, for people. You were supposed to come back and I would have made you the offer, and I'll make all of you now, that you're willing to join us in our endeavor. With the angels under our direction, Lucille and Beatrice are very straightforward about what they want. They enjoy helping people. In the beginning, that's all Sam was in it for too, before I brought him into the fold. I saw something in him. I thought I saw a similar promise that I saw in a young orphan boy looking up at me asking for a job. He seems to not be of the same abilities as you, Higgs. He's...
Good with a gun, though.
Don't give me that look. I was planning on bringing you back right away. Regardless, you're all welcome to join us, with the angels under our direction, not our control, because they are of free will and they're doing what they love to do, which is helping people. We've got an idea, me and Sally and Nimrod, who I made the same offer to when I saw something in them. I've been running a little test here. After figuring more about this fungus and seeing what it can do, I've come to the conclusion that I could care less about its continuance. We've got the notion that the fungus isn't necessary when we've got the important part, the healers. You've seen how powerfully people react to when we brought them around, Odessa, Miss Vandiver. People are incentivized to build themselves up. It helps them heal, it helps keep families whole, and it helps them follow direction. This test has been very successful. We're going to go see how it goes in other areas. I've got long-term aspirations about how big this can go and how far this could reach. What's important is we control literal angels. We control the people that they care about, that they follow, that they listen to, and that means we have control over the people themselves. This could be big, Higgs. This could be bigger than any company. This could be bigger than any entrepreneurial endeavor. I was basically raising you with the mindset of seeing a little bit of myself in you. Somebody that could help me run things, my various companies. That's all in the toilet now. Who gives a shit about making money when you can have real control? This is much bigger than that. And I was planning on just having it be Higgs, but he's made some friends. Higgs I know and I trust, and he seems to like you, so I figured I might as well extend the same offer.
Huddle time.
It's huddle time. Furries?
If you would all like a moment to talk about that, I can step away and let you discuss. Think about the things I've said. And Jove steps into the other room and gives you all some privacy.
All right, well, my main concern urgently is that it feels like Joe wants to go destroy the red stuff. Obviously, as an intelligent animal, this is a problem for me. I don't think it's bad that animals are becoming smart, and I don't think it's bad that some people and animals are getting magic powers.
And we certainly don't want Jove to have the only angels in the entire world.
I don't think there's any world where we can get behind his plan of destroying.
Yeah, the more he talks, the more I think he's just a bad guy.
Just to add on to this, I know we haven't really talked about it, but last night I did have another dream. Briefly mentioned it earlier. It looked like maybe some sort of like vision of what a future could look like if this were just like left unchecked, and it was very strange and diverse looking forest with a lot of weird trees, kind of like the ones that didn't attack us, but that we encountered. But then also there was a community of people just living their lives, kind of like at Odessa's holler. Odessa, there was someone that looked like you or maybe your mother or something, and they all seemed really happy living in tandem with whatever this force is. So I don't know if it's necessarily bad for it to stick around, especially if what he's talking about with the whole militarization of the United States
and killing all those miners, like a thing that he was looking back on with reminiscing and joy.
Yeah, that was a big red flag for me.
It's a very personal attack for me.
Yeah, he definitely looked at you when he said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
So if we're going to decline him, where do we go from here?
I bet he doesn't leave the house alive if we don't want him. He's pretty old.
I think step one, we can get him to touch the red stuff.
I don't want him to get magic powers.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I don't know if he will, because like I touched it, right? And now there's this like thing trying to communicate with me. So maybe if that thing trying to communicate with me touches him and he's trying to kill that thing,
They'll know it's an enemy.
maybe that thing will do something about it. I don't know.
Is there any chance he'll believe us if we lie to him?
Maybe he'll believe Grubs the most.
It's getting better. Well, I don't know. I feel like Grubbs also might not be able to lie to him. He's got like kind of a dad thing going on.
He literally said he does not have kids.
Higgs, you hear a noise from your jacket pocket.
Griggs,
Yeah, what's up?
what are we gonna do? Do you want us to do anything or no?
Oh, you guys want to just go like look around or something?
We could also stay hidden if you want to, and for a surprise attack.
Oh. Well, he does have like grenades Sorry, you don't know what
What's
that
a
is.
grenade?
He's got this little ball thing that if he throws it at you, it's going to blow up. Like big explosion.
Oh, we should get some of those for the loggers.
Yeah.
You think you could lie to him, Grubs?
I mean, I could give it a shot, but
Interrupting
Oh,
your
no.
conversation,
Oh no.
you hear footsteps coming back from the other room, and you see Jove walking in, arms swaying by his side, not moving with a kind of like speed or not rushing back into the room, but just walking. And you see Higgs, he has a look of like true, almost like a mix of confusion or disappointment. Like you don't know what he thought about you, but he seemed through everything to think that like Higgs will get it. Higgs has always been there.
Seemed past tense.
As he looks at you all and says, all right, think that's enough. Now, and you hear behind the group from outside 2 clicks of guns caulking. And that's where we'll end this episode of Fire and Smoke, Blight
Oh,
and Bloom.
We should have killed him
If you want to
ages
keep
ago.
up with this show, make sure to follow me on my Dungeons & Dragons TikTok account at WitchDumphy, WHICHDUNPHY. If you're enjoying the show so far, please make sure to leave us a rating on whatever application you're using to listen to it. We really appreciate it.
I guess.
Mm.
It might not stop us from getting ambushed and shot in the back. So
And we can talk about some stuff before we end the episode. While you guys were up and talking, I did make a perception roll on Jove's part.
I was
Just so you
wondering
know.
what that was. I thought you were messing around with your dice.
And the perception checks earlier that you made in the living room were secretly for also noticing things outside of the living room, which you did not beat the stealth checks of the whoever is outside. So that was those were both little secretly sneaky DM things, and I apologize.
He's so cruel to us, really.
It's a way to get the rolls in without the meta game.
He's like the Jove of Dungeon Masters.
I guess I'm the Joe.
The master
Masters.
manipulator.
I'm sorry.
I'm shaking my head.
Thoughts?
I'm
You
gonna
get
kill
those
him.
grenades.
He's going to die.
Then we got to round up the rest of the gang. We got to find Sam.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think Sam will present himself.
What if it
You
is
think
Sam
he's one of
and
the ones with
Sally?
the guns?
Well,
I bet it's Sally and the other one.
I said it
Nimrod.
first.
were they present at the Sunday service?
Sam was definitely present. In the crowd, I don't know if you would have noticed a Sally and Nimrod.
Think-
So
Nat
what if
20
it's
though.
Eli
She did
and Ned?
Odessa,
No!
I will say
No,
Odessa.
on
I
our
am-
side, they're gonna save us.
Odessa.
Oh, I was
Odessa-
going to say I am not that evil.
Like he says now, and then Eli Wu and Ned Hadfield step out holding guns and shoot him. And
Put your hands in the air.
Now, bam, Jove drops dead.
We're all good.
This is why we
Phase
got,
2 starts.
This is why we got our own secret
Hold on.
society, guys.
I will say Odessa did get a nat 20 perception check on the crowd.
But that's where I got Eli and Ned.
You did see Eli and Ned.
So
That's
they're
true.
not here.
Maybe I shouldn't have been so stingy. But the nat 20, I'll honor it and say that you did not see them in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So they are here.
So he did have the intention of letting us in on it until he heard us saying, we're going to lie to him. We're probably going to murder him. We're not going to let him destroy the red stuff.
Maybe, yeah, it does seem genuine. And you were seeing a look of true disappointment on his face. But it seems like he was going to have the offer to let you in with a backup plan if you said no.
Because if he hadn't heard us talking, I was probably going to like chip off a little piece of the red stuff with like my knife or something and try to like conceal it in my
Should just-
hand.
Oh, if
Yeah,
it's
get
spores,
some-
that'll
Think
get him.
fast. Throw it at his face. It touches him.
That's true. That'll be my strategy then.
Ethan, do you want to plug game really fast?
Yeah, I'm a game developer. You should come find me on YouTube. The name of the studio and the YouTube channel is Whistle Factory, and you can see kind of work in progress or update videos there.
Anybody else have anything they want to say?
Mm-mm.
Then we will see you all next episode with a very scary situation. Slate Cut.
Cut.